Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of this committee today. I was the first member of Congress to call for Secretary MAYORKAS to resign in February of 2022. In October of that same year, I escalated my demands and called for the impeachment of Secretary Alejandra Mayorkas. Secretary Mayorkas' tenure has been one willful destruction to the United States, beyond the point of incompetence. On February 2nd, 2021, Secretary Mayorkas swore an oath to, quote, well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter, end quote. He has failed to uphold his oath, and he has failed to protect the American people. The United States is witnessing an invasion, and instead of fighting it, Secretary Mayorkas is using any means necessary, including violating the Immigration and Nationality Act, to welcome it. Under Secretary Mayorkas, the United States has suffered record levels of illegal immigration, spikes in fentanyl trafficking and fentanyl-related deaths, and a tenfold increase in encounters with illegal aliens on terrorist screening databases. This has resulted in record cartel profits, countless criminal aliens being ferried into cities across the country, increased migrant deaths, and a demoralized border patrol. If Biden is not going to do his constitutional duty and make sure he has the right cabinet members, then it falls upon Congress to do their job. Secretary Mayorkas has failed the American people. Keeping him in this role will continue to put Americans in danger. There is not enough time in the world to list all the Mayorkas' failures, but I can highlight a few that warrant immediate impeachment proceedings. Secretary Mayorkas has consistently ignored rules and laws enacted by Congress, failing on his duty to faithfully execute the law. Some of these include using a mass parole policy which violates the Administrative Procedure Act to release record amounts of illegal aliens into the country, abusing the parole system to release hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens into the country, violating the Immigration and Nationalities Act's limit on humanitarian parole, refusing to re-implement remain in Mexico after a federal district court decision ordered him to, restricting which migrants ICE officials are able to detain and deport, quietly changing the detention policy from a, quote, release only if there is a compelling reason, end quote, to, quote, release unless there is a compelling reason not to, end quote. A change we only now know about because a federal district court in Florida caught it. In addition to ignoring orders from the legislative and judicial branches, Secretary Mayorkas repeatedly lies to Congress and the American people. He has testified to this committee under oath that the border is secure and that he has operational control of the southwest border. Absolutely no one believes that. Biden hasn't seen the real border crisis, but I have several times. And thanks to the leadership of Governor Abbott, cities across the nation are getting a small taste of what our border communities have been going through these last 3 years. Even the mayor of New York City has had to admit that there is a crisis at our southern border. If this is what security and operational control looks like to Secretary Mayorkas, then it's no wonder he hasn't fixed the Democrats' border disaster. While impeachment is an extraordinary measure, it is absolutely necessary when faced with a cabinet secretary who willfully acts in subversion of the confines of congressional authority and the letter of the law. Mayorkas has shown deliberate negligence in his failure to enforce existing immigration laws. Negligence that can be traced all the way back to the White House because the Biden-Harris administration has no intention of securing our border. Mayorkas will face no consequences from his boss because these failures are intentional and at the specific request of President and Vice President of the United States. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will never fire Secretary Mayorkas because he is performing exactly as instructed. Therefore, impeachment is the only path forward to secure our border and protect our citizens. The House of Representatives should thoughtfully pursue impeachment proceedings against Secretary Mayorkas as his actions meet the constitutional standard of high crimes and misdemeanors. Again, I thank you, Chairman Green, for letting me come and speak in front of your committee today.